My dear students, I was invited for Vasa by a close devotee who also likes to remain quite private. I did a Dhamma talk for him to show my gratitude and thought it would be useful for you as well. So I recorded a version without his details in it because I also want to value his privacy. So I think all of you know that Vasa begins tomorrow, August 2nd. And it's quite a special Vasa for me because it'll be the first Vasa at my monastery, Ilukumbura Aranya Senasana. So this Dhamma talk is for you to dwell on during this Vasa. And I hope each and every one of you can practice as well and develop your meditation so you can also have a profitable Vasa, a useful Vasa. Because as we all discuss many times, the Dhamma is very rare and we should make the best use of it when we get the chance. So here's our Dhamma talk for the beginning of Vasa. The Dhamma can be discussed and divided into many formats. One of the most common is Sila, Samādhi and Panya. This describes a path of improvement, development, gradually attaining higher and higher levels of knowledge associated with the path to Nibbana. Out of these three, this devotee questioned me about Samādhi on his last visit here. So today I want to talk a bit more about Samādhi, what it is, its role, and its importance on this beautiful path taught by our Lord Buddha. In the Dhamma, the Buddha taught us ultimate reality. This consists of phenomena that have individual qualities that are real and can be discerned by the mind. An example, earth element has the characteristic of hardness. It has a function which is to act as a foundation for other materiality that exists with it. These qualities can be discerned by the mind. These qualities exist. They are not concepts. Now a concept can be a house, car, mother. These exist in the world of conventional reality. But at the deepest levels, they do not have qualities that are intrinsic to themselves and are not ultimate reality. Let's take an example. While we can discuss and think about the qualities of the car, if we break it down slowly into that which makes up a car, we'll only find certain materiality of earth element, water, fire, and air, and a few others. And this earth, water, fire, and air have intrinsic qualities that can be discerned. They are ultimate reality. What we think of as a car is something the mind decides upon with respect to a certain combination of these and other materialities. The car is a concept. The materiality actually exists, and its qualities can actually be discerned. Now we have to remember, it is this ultimate reality that the Buddha has taught us to meditate vipassana on. We have to discern this ultimate reality and know all ultimate reality. Then what is Samādhi? What is concentration? Samādhi is also an ultimate reality, and it is essential in being able to discern or see other ultimate reality. We will discuss that part a little later, but first let's discuss the qualities that make up Samādhi. The characteristic of Samādhi is non-distraction. Its function is to eliminate distraction. It manifests itself to the mind as non-wavering. Its proximate cause is usually bliss. This Samādhi can be divided into many types. Access and absorption concentration, Samādhi with happiness, without happiness, Samādhi accompanied by bliss or accompanied by equanimity, mundane or supramundane Samādhi, inferior, medium, superior Samādhi, and there are a few other ways, but we will not go through all of it. I just wanted to give you these few examples so we can get a glimpse of the profundity with which the Buddha expounds the Dhamma, and in this case, Samādhi. So how does a person get Samādhi? There are 40 meditation subjects the Buddha has taught. He has given instructions on each one, how to develop, how to practice, and the corresponding results. Using these 40, a person can gain varying levels of Samādhi. Sometimes a person can gain access concentration. Sometimes a person can develop up to jhanas or even abhinyas, which include psychic powers. The more the person has developed and progressed in his meditation, the stronger his samadhi, the stronger his concentration. Before we continue, many people might wonder, how should we understand concentration? How do we experience concentration? In simple terms, high concentration can involve staying with one object over a period of time. But it can also involve the deep penetration of an object such as earth element over a shorter time frame. The experiences of concentration can vary from subject to subject, and it is best understood while achieving it and gathering information from the respective meditation teacher. Now, why is this samadhi important? Well, it is only a person who has samadhi that can discern or see ultimate reality. If a person does not have samadhi, he cannot. Let's take a simple example to get a better understanding. Before the telescope, people probably wondered about stars and thought about them. But it is only after the telescope developed that they were able to see objects in the sky and get some understanding. Before that, they could not. The same with the microscope. No microscope and no knowledge of these small organisms. No idea. But after the microscope, we have the amoeba, bacteria, etc. The same way, without samadhi, we cannot penetrate or discern ultimate reality. Because the Buddha has taught about it and his teachings are in books, we can think about ultimate reality. We can think about Patavi or earth element or Vijnana, consciousness. We can discuss it. We can even argue about it. But if there is no samadhi, the person cannot see it, cannot discern. He will have book knowledge, but he will not have direct knowledge. It is important to understand the importance of this. To penetrate Nibbana, ultimate reality has to be discerned and penetrated. To do that, a person needs samadhi. This is one of the reasons the Buddha gives a lot of emphasis to the disciples that practice. Without practice, without samadhi, the Dhamma cannot be directly known. Now I want to talk briefly about a section in the Mahanidana Sutta. This sutta is a discourse by the Buddha to Venerable Ananda on Paticcasamuppada, also known as dependent origination. In this sutta, there is an explanation of the depth of dependent arising. Here it is stated, dependent arising is deep in 4 respects because of the depth of meaning. The second one, depth of phenomenon. The third one, depth of teaching. And the fourth one, depth of penetration. With regard to depth of meaning, there's a discussion on the deep meaning of aging and death, being originated and sustained with birth as a condition. To quote, there are no aging and death that do not come to be through birth, and there are none that come to be without birth on account of something else. The meaning of aging and death being sustained with birth as condition is that aging and death become manifest in accordance with the kind of birth and the way it serves as a condition. This meaning is deep in the sense of fathomless, since it does not give a footing for knowledge to those who have not accumulated collections of kusala. Now a person might wonder, this is not that difficult. I know birth is a cause for aging and death. I can see it everywhere. But this is just thinking. It does not capture all of the meaning of the paragraph. A person actually has to discern or see his own birth with his mind. Then he has to discern aging and death. Then he has to discern his birth is a condition for this aging and death. This knowledge does not start and stop when we think of the words birth, aging and death. No. All these phenomena have to be discerned with a concentrated mind and known directly. Only a concentrated mind can do this. To understand a bit more, let's take an example. Even an intoxicated man can think or say, birth is a cause for aging and death. Does this mean he knows this knowledge? Or does it mean he is reciting words? No, it does not mean he knows. Wisdom in the Dhamma is different. One has to know directly, not just think or recite words unknowingly. So we have to understand that this is the type of depth that is encapsulated in the paragraph we discussed when we discussed depth of meaning. And to see this depth, to understand this depth, we need Samādhi. Let's take the next one. In depth of phenomenon, we have Sankhara, or volitional formations, originating and sustained with avidya, or ignorance, as condition. To quote, here the mode through which and the stage at which ignorance becomes a condition for sankhara and the stage at which it does so are difficult to comprehend. Due to this, the meaning of ignorance being a condition for sankhara is deep. They go on to describe as fathomless, since it does not give a footing for knowledge to those who have not accumulated great collections of kusala through samsara. Again, to be able to discern this, we need Samādhi. We need to see this with our own minds, that avidya or ignorance is a condition for sankhara or volitional formations. This will also include how it is a condition. So to understand this depth, to see this depth, we need Samādhi. Then let's go on to the third one, depth of teaching. This dependent origination is sometimes taught in forward order, sometimes reverse, sometimes both forward and reverse, some beginning from the middle in forward order, or in reverse order, or in both. There are 3 connections with 4 groups taught, some 2 connections and 3 groups, some 1 connection and 2 groups. Now the Buddha teaches this in different ways for different reasons. There it is deep in teaching. Only the omniscient knowledge of a Buddha can find a footing in it. Now, when a person meditates Paticcasamuppada, when he discerns dependent origination, his knowledge of the Buddha increases. His respect for the Buddha increases, and his respect for the Buddha's teachings also increase. While this person might not be fully able to comprehend the omniscient knowledge of a Buddha, he will begin to understand the Buddha has to be omniscient to be able to teach like this. So to a certain extent, he will understand and value this depth of teaching. And to get to that point, again, he needs Samādhi to be able to do so. Then finally, we had depth of penetration. Let's quote, deep is the meaning of ignorance as not knowing, not seeing, and non-penetration of truths. Meaning of consciousness as emptiness, absence of an agent, and manifestation of rebirth linking without transmigration. So here we've talked about ignorance, we've quoted about ignorance, and we quoted about consciousness. There's more, but we will not mention all of the definitions. Now let's consider ignorance and let's consider consciousness. Now this ignorance, this consciousness, the intrinsic nature has to be penetrated through essential qualities. These intrinsic natures are deep. Depth of penetration can be understood in this way. And again, to penetrate these qualities, Samādhi is needed. The stronger the Samādhi, the stronger the ability to penetrate and know more. So I wanted to highlight this part of how deep the Dhamma is by using this section in the Mahanidana Sutta. I also wanted to emphasize that this depth can only be understood by using concentration as taught by the Buddha. While reciting Dhamma and discussing can lead to some understanding, that alone cannot give the depth associated with the Dhamma. That can only be achieved by practice and strong levels of Samādhi. So this is a short Dhamma talk on Samādhi and its value and its requirement to attaining Nibbana, as well as its requirement to understanding the depth of Dhamma. I hope and wish every one of you will have a wonderful Vasa, will be able to practice hard and move towards the most important goal that we all have, which is elimination of all suffering or escape from all suffering in samsara. Therwan Sarnai.